Hi, I'm Jeff Ludy, the owner of Houston Window Experts. Thank you again for watching this video. Hey, before we get started, I'm going to talk about, by the way, Pella Vinyl Windows. But before we get started, I just want to let you know, we get a lot of calls, a lot of emails from people all over the country and also on YouTube comments asking, Jeff, I know you're way too far from me to do business with me, but do you know anybody in my area? In fact, that happens so much. And actually, we do know so many great window companies all across America that subscribe to the same values and sell windows in the same methods that we sell windows in, that I created a list. So you might want to go there and check it out and see if maybe there's somebody in your area, if you're looking to buy windows from a great reputable company that does things the right way. It's actually jeffslist.com. jeffslist.com, check that out. Okay, so today, after numerous requests, people have said, Jeff, could you please make a video about Pella Vinyl Windows? And I thought, absolutely. In fact, I have a video where I cover the entire Pella family of products. I'll put a little button right here. You can click on that, adds it to your playlist. And in that video, you'll see that I covered mainly their other products, and I kind of left vinyl out, and I said, I'll make a video about vinyl. And so here we are making a video about their vinyl. Now, if you watch some of my other videos about vinyl windows, I mentioned this Windsor window as what I probably think is the most beautiful vinyl window I've ever seen. And I got a great video about that. And then you've seen the video I have about Amsco windows, I'm sure. Amsco windows, if you're looking for like a black window or something, they actually make a really great looking window, and it's not a painted black on here. It's actually a capstock, which is more durable than something that's painted. So let me get these out of the way though, because today, ta-da, we're gonna talk about Pella. So Pella basically makes two vinyl products. They used to make three. They've made some adjustments. Actually, they even opened a new facility because their vinyl window sales are skyrocketing. They make a terrific product. And I'm going to cover that today. Now, a little bit about Pella, in case you didn't know, right? Did you know that Pella is considered the most trusted, according to a 2020 survey, the most trusted brand name of windows in America? Now, they're not the largest window company in America. From what I understand, Andersen has more sales. You've probably heard of Andersen. Andersen has more sales than Pella does, but Pella is rapidly catching up. They're a nearly 100-year-old company. They started in 1925. They're based out of Pella, Iowa, right? And in Pella, Iowa, I think probably everybody in Pella, Iowa actually works for Pella Windows. But did you know that they have a 17-year average tenure with that company, meaning that the employees who've been working there have been working there longer than what you see typically in a facility like a window company. What does that mean to you as a homeowner? Well, it means that the longer somebody works there, the better they get at their job, right? And you probably know that because who knows how long you've worked at where you are. You know now that you're better today than you were when you first started in that industry. So having great brand name recognition helps you when it comes to the resale of your home. And also having happy employees means you get better quality products, less issues. They also have one of the best limited lifetime warranties in the industry. And so limited lifetime warranty that's transferable for the first 10 years is really something that's great for you to have. So that's a little bit about Pella. Let's talk about some of the things that make this window one of my favorite windows for the Houston market. First, I want to point out just a couple of differences between the two products. And before I do that, let me tell you what's not different about these two products. They are the exact same glass, okay? Same glass. And they're also the same frame batter. Now, they're not the same shape, as you can tell by looking at them, but the actual ingredients that go into the vinyl on this are the same ingredients they put into the vinyl here. By the way, titanium dioxide is one of the most expensive ingredients that goes into a vinyl window. It actually helps it retain its shape. It helps it resist ultraviolet. It helps it be more durable and longer lasting. And it's one of the most expensive things in a window. Very high levels of titanium dioxide in this batter. So it gives you that ability to have a limited lifetime warranty, because we know these things aren't going to end up having issues like you can see in some lower priced, cheap vinyl windows. So that's what's common about them. Now, for the purposes of my example today, I do have two different glass packages here because they have many different glass packages depending on where you live in the country. And if you notice on this one, it looks more clear. You see my hand behind here? This is more clear because this has absolutely no energy coatings on it at all. Yes, it is double pane, but it doesn't have any argon gas and it doesn't have any coatings at all on the glass. This one has 3 layers of coating on it. And that's why it's easier to, it's harder to see through there because you can see that it's a little bit greener, especially when it's indoors. It looks a little greener than when it's outdoors. And that's the silver oxide. Great video I have about low E coatings and how they work. You probably ought to check that out too. So I'm showing you the contrast here. Now, you would never want to do this. I don't think you would. You're buying an energy efficient window and now you're not putting the energy efficient glass in it. And in some cases, you may not even want to do this. Let's say you lived in Arizona where it's very, very hot and no shade at all and you have a lot of direct sunlight, like say Phoenix or Nevada in the desert. This is critical. But if you live in an area like some of the places we have here in Houston where we do have a lot of trees, think about the Woodlands, think about River Oaks, think about Bel Air, Westview, places like that. You don't have a lot of direct sunlight and so you don't probably have as much exposure to heat. There is a layer of glass, a glass option that's between these two, which gives you a lot of energy efficiency, but it doesn't make it quite as dark as this is. So you don't lose as much light and you get more of the natural light, but you're rejecting most of the heat. In fact, we call that solar heat gain coefficient, also known as SHGC. I have a video about that. Oh my God, how many videos do we have? A bunch. And in there, we talk about the ratings and what they mean. So just for a quick reference point, if I did use the 3 coats of low E, it's a 0.23 solar heat gain. If I use the 2 coats of low E, which is the one between these two, it's actually a 0.31. So 0.23 to 0.31, which is somewhere around a 7 to 8% difference in efficiency. But you also have a higher amount of light coming through. So, hey, that's why we have experts, right? Product specialists who come out to your house, evaluate these needs. You know, never buy a window on paper. You got to take a look at it. You got to see what the circumstances are, and what you might need may not be what I need because I might have a different set of circumstances to be happy with my window project. So the thing I thought was so important to point out is that if you live in the Midwest or some place where you have older homes and you probably had wood windows, this profile is designed to look more like a wood window. It's vinyl, but they know you have a wood window and you want it to look more like that. This profile is designed for more of what we have and like they have in California and some other places. If you live in Houston, you probably have single pane aluminum windows on your house. A single pane aluminum window is going to have a narrower profile, okay? And it's going to be a little more contemporary, and that's why you see a lot of these nice flat lines. You see some nice 90-degree angles here, and you see that this has a wider glass space than that does. And let me show you what I mean by that. You notice here, I'm going to put my tape measure on here. For the glass space on this one, the actual visible glass space is just a little over 23 inches. You see that? Just a little over 23 inches. On this one, and by the way, these are the same size windows. On this one, if you notice that the glass space is, 26.5 inches. So 23 to 26.5. Same size window, 3.5 more inches of glass. Now let's say you have a really great big window. Well, then it probably isn't significant. You probably don't notice it. But you know that little window that a lot of us have in Houston? It's that little one right next to your front door, that little side light, the one where the dog comes up to bark at people? That thing's usually around 11.5 inches wide. Well, look how thick this is, right? If you had an 11.5 inch wide window, you might end up with about that much glass. So sometimes we do a hybrid, right? Maybe we use this product for the house and we use this for the small windows. Being the same brand, same ingredients, that's something we can do. But that's what I like about this so much. I see so many people make mistakes, right? They buy windows, the salesperson comes into the house, they bring a small little sample of the window and shows them all the values and benefits and oh, you got to buy this window and you got to buy it tonight and save all this money. And they're like, yes, let's do that. And then they get the window in and they put it in the house and they think, oh my God, what have we done? Because they cannot visualize what that window is going to look like in their home. So if you have a narrower frame, you probably are going to want to stick to a narrower frame. Because even so, think about this, when we replace a window, it always has to be downsized a little bit because it's not a new construction window. It's going to be a custom size window designed for your house. So you're already losing a little bit of frame space, and then if you're losing a lot of glass space, ooh, not good. I have a video about the top 5 mistakes people make when buying windows, and I can tell you one of those on there is that, and I give some examples, some photo examples of when people made a bad decision like that. You should probably check that out as well. I like the glass. I like the frame. I like how this operates. Now let's take a look at the inside over here, okay? Again, real nice, neat, clean, nice flat surfaces. It's got a little contemporary look to it. Their corners are really nice and smooth because they use what's called a fusion welder, and it's a really nice high-tech welder that actually welds those corners together so they're structurally sound. That's why they can give it that limited lifetime warranty. But yet you don't have those big gnarly corners like you see sometimes on inferior products that are kind of cheap windows. One of the things I like about this window is just how easy this is to operate. Now let's think about this. Some of us are getting older, okay? And as we get older and we start to age in place, you know, aging in place is getting to be kind of a big conversation piece about windows. If you're aging in place and you stay in a home longer, maybe you become to, you know, start to get arthritis, or you're weaker, or, you know, you just don't have the strength you used to have. Pella has thought about this, and they've engineered this special style of constant force balancer. It's actually reversed. Most people put the constant force balancer here. They put it here instead. And it causes, it's like, just makes so much sense. It's just a 180-degree flip. But it causes this thing to operate. In fact, it is the best operating window that I have, easiest one to operate. So when it comes to operating this window, not that we do it a lot in Houston, but when it does, this is really easy. I'm going to show you, right? So like I'm going to do that. Look how easy that window opens. Look. See how it keeps traveling? Oop, a little hard there. So like you've heard me talk about this window from Amsco and how much I love it. It's a great window, but it doesn't do that. Hold on. I mean, I'm throwing this hard. There we go. I have a video about how much force does it take to open a window. Now it's non-scientific, okay? Don't send me letters, manufacturers. But I want to show you, we use this little fish scale, okay? It's at 0, just so we can see how much force is required to open a window. So let me show you this. So I'm put this little hook right here, and I'll start the lift, and we'll see how much weight it takes to get that window open, started, and then continue. 6, 7, 8, 9, 11, 12, okay, 13-ish pounds, and then it's like 8, 9 pounds to open once you get started. That's kind of typical for windows, so there's nothing really wrong there. But let me show you this one. You ready? What did we say that was? 13 more or less to get started, and about 9 to keep going. Okay, here we go. Oh, I got to reset that. Okay, here we go. 1 pound, 1.5, 2, around 3.5 pounds to continue going. But do you see how easy that opened? Watch, let me do it again. Okay. 1 pound, 1.2, 1.3 pounds. Nice, huh? Now if I throw this window up like it was the other one, hits the top. I mean, this thing opens really, really well. Now while I've got it open, I'm gonna show you something else that's pretty cool. This window actually tilts in. Now you know I don't like double hung windows, or at least I explained why I don't like them. Maybe you do. But this window is not a double hung. It's still a single hung, but it actually still does tilt. So there could be an advantage to that, right? Like if you had to clean it, you could clean it easily. If I had to replace the glass on this, I just order the whole sash, pop this out, put another one in. It's pretty easy to do. But I want to show you this. Actually has what they call their triple weather stripping system. You have weather stripping on the inside, and see how it kind of turns the corner, which is cool. You have another layer here between that and the frame itself, which is pretty cool. And then you have another one right here. So you've got a lot of weather stripping, which is why this thing has such great energy performance. You know, I forgot to mention that Consumer Report has put the Pella products year after year after year in their very top categories for replacement for quality. In fact, the Pella vinyl window in 2020 won the recommended award. It was at the very top of the list. It had the most points when they tested it. So great independent stuff from other people. Also, if you'll notice here, there is a little lip right here. This is like a little raised lip, kind of like a little hook there. You see that? And that goes along the whole perimeter here across the front of the sash. And if you look over here, there's a receiver for that. Actually, there's a little groove down in there, okay? And so when I close the window, this top part of the window actually engages into the bottom part of that window, which then gives me a nice little, you know, kind of a little handshake, if you will, to help hold that really nice and strong there, so that when the wind blows on the window and it forces itself onto the window's not yielding, it's not giving in, it's not separating from the top and the bottom. Also keeps some guy with a credit card from slipping it through there. You're like, remember the old 70s movies? It's slip a little driver's license and credit card in there and flip and unlock the lock. It's not gonna happen with this. Also, this passes the highest standards for forced entry in the nation, meaning Windows have to be tested to pass certain standards for forced entry, like break-ins and stuff. And this actually passes all of those. It's also Energy Star rated in all 50 states, which is pretty cool too. If you notice here, these locks, right? They connect to these little locking points down here. And you see how those locking points have 2 screws each, right? They don't screw into vinyl. Like a lot of manufacturers, it just screws into the vinyl. They don't. On this product, they actually have stainless steel metal reinforcement going in the sash here, right, across this media rail, and also on that sash there. So that when these two lock together, it's actually metal on metal inside of that vinyl, giving you a lot of rigidity, giving you a lot of strength. And for certain areas of the town, if you needed actually a higher rating for strength, they actually have what they call a performance upgrade. It adds, I think it's about 10% or so to a window, but if you did need what's called a DP rating, a design pressure rating that needed to be higher, maybe your architect's calling for it or something, they actually make an upgrade for this as well, which gives you more additional perimeter steel so that you can have even more strength out of this window. Now there are going to be some things about this window that are common to all windows, but I like how they do this a little bit different than some of the others. This is what's called a weep hole system here. You see those little holes down there, okay? And then there's kind of a big hole back there, right back in that corner. This is designed to help prevent a overflow of water into the house should there be a failure of some type. So let me give you an example of where that could happen. Let's suppose that you decided to go to the grocery store. It's a beautiful, cool afternoon. When would that be? Would that be spring, maybe fall, maybe even winter. And so you have your screen on there and you have your window here and you have your window open and maybe just cracked it that much. And all of a sudden the storm came up and rain came and you wouldn't want this thing to get full of water, right? And then spill over into the house. So they designed this overflow or this weep system so that water would fall into this channel, okay? It can't come into the house. And then it would go out through those holes or that big cavity in case there was a high rate of water. It'd go out into the side. So that's normal. Who doesn't do that? But here's what I think is pretty cool. Do you see anywhere on here the escape hatch for that water? No, you don't. Now let me show it to you on this window. These are called little dryer vents. See that right there? That's a little dryer vent. So when that water needs out, that thing flips open like a dryer vent does, right? And then the water comes out on there. It's fine, looks great to me. But this looks even better. It keeps in with that nice clean profile, that real nice look of being able to keep the window very contemporary, very smooth, very clean. And by the way, sometimes those break off. We have extras, but sometimes those break off. So I want to show you how this one works because I think you're going to think this is pretty cool. Now, for the purpose of this demonstration, I got some Fabuloso. I think it's called Fabuloso. It's or green clean or something like that. And so you can see it coming through. But I'm going to go ahead and pour some of this down into this hole. And then I want you to see where it comes out. And I'm going to catch it with this cup because I don't think our cleaning lady is going to appreciate me doing this. So I'm going to put it in there. And right there it is. Look at that. Look right there. See that? Oh, I'm going to try to catch it down here. There it comes. There's the green stuff. And you can see where it is up here in this track. See it up in this track? Oh, that smells great, by the way. See it up in this track, and it's going over to that little hole. And it's kind of like boop, 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 going out of the end over there. And so it won't come into here. It'll go over there, or it'll go to the very end, and it'll pour itself out. So the nice thing about this is you don't see that little weep hole. This is a concealed weep hole. It's right down here in that little groove. And then when it does rain, it works. When it's not raining, it looks awesome. It's something else that can't break too, right? I love that about it. Couple more things about this window, and I think we'll let you go. One of the things I like about the window, more than some of my other brands, is that while this is very narrow on top, it's also almost as narrow on the bottom. Any window that operates is always going to be a little bit wider because you see here I actually have a sash that's moving inside that frame. But this is narrower than a lot of other ones, so you end up with more glass. So I'll give you an example of that. Remember, all these windows in my showroom are the same size. So right here, let me stand over here, it might be easier for you to see that. I'm going from edge to edge on the bottom here. We have an exactly 25 inches of glass space on the bottom there. Now, you know I love this product, and this isn't a big deal breaker for me, but I just want to show you the difference here. This one, instead of 25 inches, is 24 1/4, 24 3/8. So they did a great job here. Just a little bit more glass there. Now, one of the things that I did notice about this is if you notice here, the glass space from there to there is about 2.5 inches, okay? Whereas on the other Pella product, it's only about 1 1/4, 1 3/8 inches instead. So this is narrower. And I thought to myself, well, how's that possible? Ding, 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 it dawned on me. Those guys are brilliant up in Pella, Iowa. See, you can see the locks on this one. See the lock? Yeah. You see the lock on this one? Nope, you don't. So they could have made this narrower, but I'm glad that they didn't. Because now this window being a little more contemporary looking, that all fits together in the same profile. Now think about this too. This product, and it comes in lots of shapes, okay, just about every imaginable shape of window you would need for your house. This product makes what's called a spring line version of a single hung. Spring line means this. Let's say that I had a single hung window here, okay? And then I had on top of this, you had one of those half round windows, or it's an eyebrow window or something. A lot of people have those in the front of their house. A lot of window companies have to make that two separate pieces, a bottom window and a top window. So you end up with like a bar across the middle. Now I brought you a hideous example of a company that does that. I want you to see this. This is terrible, right? So instead of this being one big radius window, it's actually a top and a bottom. They split it up in the middle. And in this case, and by the way, this is hideous, a little over 6 inches. So you lose, what's the benefit of having a nice narrow profile with all that glass? If you come across here and you put a giant 6-inch bar of vinyl. So bad example there. That's something you'd want to do. In this case, you're going to have a much better look. As far as sizes, there are some limitations on this, and you got to understand why. It's because it's a narrow profile. Doesn't mean it's an inferior profile. It means it's a narrow profile. So when you get glass, really, really big glass, right? Glass actually flexes, especially under a wind load. If this frame is not very, very deep here, and it can't be, right? Because it's a narrow frame vinyl. If you have a really big piece of glass, it's possible that glass could actually blow, and it would shrink down and just pop itself right out of the frame. So all of these windows have to go under independent laboratory testing and meet certain wind loads, et cetera. And so for Pella to make sure, to be sure that you're going to be safe with these windows, they have a maximum size restriction on things like this. For their big picture window, you know, it's going to be that real narrow frame, but just imagine a great big window in your house. They go all the way up to 40 square feet. I mean, that's huge for that narrow frame. What we're saying there is you can go with about a 6-foot wide window that's nearly 7 feet tall, okay? I mean, you can go really big and get lots of glass with this narrow profile so you see your backyard. Instead of seeing all those grids and seeing all that vinyl frame, you're gonna really get to see out your windows. And that's what people buy windows for, right? They don't look at their window, they look through their window, yeah? Also, I'm pointing this out just in case you're a builder and this is important to you. They have what's called an accessory groove right here on this window, which means that they have snap-in pieces that can snap into those tracks for different applications. So let's say you had a stucco house. You could be using a snap-in track that goes over the stucco. You have a J channel, you have a flange that can go on there, you have a head expander, you have a frame expanders. So this window is versatile. That's why I'm saying it can be used in a whole lot of applications. Brilliant for them to do that. Instead of making 5 different windows for 5 different things, make a window that can be adjusted, right? Kind of like Legos, kind of like Transformers. Do more things with that window. And so, brilliant for them to do that. I really like how that looks. Resale value is great with Pella Windows. I mean, nothing wrong with having another brand that no one knows of if it's a great window. But if you ever go to sell that house, being able to sell that house with Pella Windows, make sure you tell your realtor, by the way, to put that on the list of recent things that have been done to your house. You know, we installed Pella Windows in blank, blank, blank year. And if it's under 10 years, it is transferable to the next homeowner. So that's really nice for them to know about as well. Kind of in my closing remarks, the question might be, well, who's this window for? Who buys this window? Well, it is definitely not an entry-level window. Okay, entry-level windows are going to cost 30, 40, 50% less than this. This is definitely in that $3 sign, you know, $2 to $3 sign versus the $1 sign kind of window. But it's going to cost less than Pella's fiberglass products. Fiberglass costs more money to make, right? Even though it has the same glass, it costs more money to make, so the window itself will cost more. It's definitely lower than that. It's also lower price point than like the really flagship elite products that come in a bunch of colors and have a lot of different wood options on the inside, etc. Oh, and by the way, they also make doors out of this product. So if you needed a door to match with your windows, got you covered. Some limitations on sizes, like I said, some limitations on the color options. They don't have a lot of color options, but I'm glad to know that these are actually extruded colors, meaning that it's actually pigmented vinyl. When the vinyl's made, the color goes into it. And I could even take a pocket knife, right, and slice it like a bar of soap would be. You'd see that color going all the way through. And that's important to you as a homeowner because it's gonna stay that color. Even if it got a few little scratches on it or something, you're not gonna see a gray color or something else behind it. You're always gonna have that color of your window for as long as that window exists. So that's really cool. I just think it's a great window. I really like it. And I like Pella's service. Last thing I want to point out, and this has to do with service. Should you ever need service on this window and you bought it from me, obviously you just call me and I'll take care of it for you. But if you didn't buy it from me and you needed service from Pella, you can call the Pella 800 number. And up here in that corner, I don't know if you can see it or not. We can get you a close-up maybe, but see all those printed digits on there? That's actually a serial number for your window. It tells Pella if you called them and they said, sir, can you get your reading glasses and a flashlight, please? You could go up there and you could put a flashlight on it. You could look at that number. You could read that number off to them and they say, oh, that's the living room window? Yeah, I know exactly what it is. They know what glass you have in it. They know when it was installed. They can tell you if it's still under warranty. And then that way, when a service technician comes out to work on your window, he doesn't have to come out and look and take measurements and say, see you in a month. No, he comes out with what he needs on the truck, has the parts, can do the work, and then you're smiling again, right? Well, I hope you've enjoyed this video. I've always enjoyed spending time with people on YouTube. If you have questions or comments below, go in there, put them in there. If you're looking for a window company, like I said, go to jeffslist.com and check it out. Maybe we know somebody in your area. All right, if you're in Houston, come to our beautiful showroom. We have over a dozen brands of windows and doors to choose from. We'd love to show you around and answer all of your questions. Or maybe we'll even come out to your house. Your call. You decide. Thanks for watching. Have a great day, and I'll talk to you again real soon.